$42 months is a long time. You on the race to get 4 years before anybody else can. $42 months. Jesus. I can't believe I've even been streaming that long. Like, I don't know. And still a channel so small. That's depressing. I'll be right back. What's up?
What you think about when you're born into a fire? Let them burn it out. Sell them to the richest buyer. They wanna let the world decay. They tell us lies and fade away, fade away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. Listen up now, because we're never dropping out. Beat the odds, beat the big house. The brains are bigger than the doubt. We've been thinking for ourselves, never let the truth fade away. This is bigger than ourselves, we won't let the world burn away, burn away. We feel betrayed. We were raised to lose the race. Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway. To play.
I just played through Red Dead Redemption 2 for the first time.
Wake at the back of the pack, kill it anyway.
If you want to watch shows older, Twitch only keeps shows. It typically only keeps shows for 7 days, but because I'm an affiliate, it does 60 days, I think, 2 months. And if I was a partner, it would do 90 days. So if you want to watch older stuff, you have to go to YouTube or somewhere else, Rumble, somewhere else. It was so sad. Like the end, oh, well, not the end of it, but like the end of the regular part of the game before you go to epilogue. So sad. And now it makes me want to play RDR1, which is like RDR2 is a prequel. I played with Arthur for 130 some hours, and then he fucking dies on me from tuberculosis. And the horse that his friend with one leg gave him gets killed. Get out of here, that shit. Oh, let me stop the music. I just finished it. I figured the epilogue would be longer. There was only like I did as many side missions that popped up, and it didn't take no time to do both of the epilogues, 1 and 2. But that leads us right back into RDR1. And I've never been able to play RDR1 because it hasn't been ported to PC, but they just ported it in October of last year, I think, from console to PC. And they say it's a pretty decent port. I mean, it took them 10 years to do it. It ought to be good, but whatever. We'll see.
Hey Daddies, it's me, the Linda Binda from TikTok. I wanted to make this video because I wanted to thank you for watching Cold Beer Confessionals with Will Bird. I think that's just incredible. I've watched a few episodes and I'm just like very intrigued. But you know what I'm most intrigued in is Big Daddy's meat stick. I heard that it's very thick, like a good old German sausage. You know, Linda and her coochie loves that. Oh, never mind. Let's not go there. Anyways, I hope you have a good show and enjoy it as you can. There's a lot of weird things that go on, especially when it comes from the realm of Linda Bindaland. So, enjoy the show. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Welcome everybody. I'm Will Bird. This is the Cold Beer Confessional. Thank you for joining us. I couldn't stream last night. The computer did like a mandatory update thing where I was just fucking around with it, and then it just went to a blue screen and said your computer's restarting, and it broke something in OBS, so I had to delete OBS and restart it. So if stuff's fucked up tonight, that's probably why. Anyways, I'm here now. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you guys coming out. What have you been up to? I've been doing a lot of research, okay? And I personally think, I'm not saying I'm right, I personally think that the guy that shot at Charlie Kirk was hit the road terminally online. I think he was loosely affiliated with Nick Fuentes and the Groypers in the way that people that are online a lot, especially young white males that are online a lot, I don't think they believe the shit Nick says as much as they like to use Nick as a figure to trigger people. Like they like that Nick says whatever he wants, gets people mad, says stuff you're not supposed to say, pushes the limit kind of deal, right? There are a bunch of people that think like Nick Fuentes is a lying homosexual, right? But they absolutely love sharing memes and shit about him that trigger other people. From what I can tell, the media was completely wrong, and I guess the ATF jumped the gun. So when they came out and said that it was trans inscriptions, that was incredibly wrong. It was actually had the initials TRN, TRN, which is a bullet manufacturer, right? This was stamped on the rim of the cartridge, and that leaked out and said, so what was actually inscribed on the bullets? One of them said, if you read this, you're gay, which is a terminally online thing to say, right? The other one it's a Turin Ammunition. TRN stands for Turin Ammunition Company. But anyways, another one made fun of a comic strip that makes fun of furries. Basically, this comic strip is like this guy at the computer talking about a bulge and whatever. But anyways, it's making fun of people who like get off to weird shit on the internet, including like furry stuff. I have seen that there was a friend that came forward and said, "Oh no, he has completely different ideology from his parents. They were always arguing." She claims to be a friend from high school. They were always arguing because he was so far left. I don't think she understood his political leanings. Yeah, I don't think she understood his political leanings at all. But I do think he's like terminally online. The Bella Ciao is an anti-fascist song. It was also remixed. So there's this video that went viral of this guy playing a video game, and he's singing the Bella Ciao song while running around killing people. Okay, that video went viral. Then someone took the audio from that video, remixed it, and made it a kind of a catchy song out of it. That is part of the Groyper playlist on Spotify that a ton of Nick Fuentes followers listen to. So the Bella Ciao one can be explained. The If You Read This, You're Gay can be explained. The Uwu one can be explained. Yeah, I'm almost, I don't think like he would be here's what I don't think happened. Nick Fuentes and Charlie Kirk for a long time have kind of had a turf war. I don't know if you guys remember this, but I used to cover the Groyper Wars. And in the Groyper Wars, what would happen is Turning Point USA would show up, and then Nick would send his people to be in the audience, tons of college-age kids, to be in the audience, and they would ask questions about Israel. They would ask questions about 6 million cookies. They would ask questions about the USS Liberty. They would ask questions about how can two men being married be okay because they can't reproduce, because Turning Point USA used to have a homosexual spokesperson. Yeah, one of their people was like a homosexual, and they tried to act like they accepted it. Nick Fuentes called it out because he's like this alt-right Catholic, blah, 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 whatever. I don't think it was a turf war. I don't think the guy in his head, which he's clearly crazy or he wouldn't have taken this action, but I don't think in his head he was thinking, I'm going to kill Charlie Kirk so Nick has more power and can get a hold of. Instead, what I think he was thinking is if you're terminally online, you're always trying to start shit, right? You know how we troll people, but we do other things? If you're one of these terminally online people, that's all they do. That's all they pretend like they're an expert in everything. They try to, thank you very much, Gen X. I think it was a meme murder. QAnon started a troll to get mainstream attention. He got national press coverage saying, if you're reading this, I don't think it was a turf war. I don't think it had anything to do with that. Instead, I think he wanted to start something bigger. I think he thought this will be the flash in the pan that starts a civil war or starts a mass roundup or I think that his mentality was, if I do this, it'll start something even bigger. Yeah, that's what I think is going on. There are people saying, we're going to have to wait on the ballistics for Charlie Kirk. There are people saying that the black spot on his shirt was the bullet actually hitting, and it was a ricochet and come up through his neck, and I don't know, all kinds of weird shit. Maybe. It might have... So, I want to show you something. Let me see. My first thought was the bullet hit something to begin with. Not to benefit anybody. Just to cause chaos. That's what they're into. There is no benefit. There is no benefit to fucking running around pretending like you're an expert on the internet and disagreeing with people either. But they do it all the time. All right, Charlie Kirk. We saw this when we figured out the drop of the bullet the other day. Let me see. All right. So here is, over here in your chat, let's say this is the rooftop of our building. And we have our guy up here. That's our shooter, okay? So there was a large flat area, right, in front of the building. Like all this was flat out in front of the building. And then it stepped down, almost like staircases, right? It's stepped down to the bottom. And then there was a table. Right? And then Charlie Kirk was sitting in this chair. Okay? Charlie Kirk had a tent over him. I think the bullet might have hit something. I don't think it was that great of a shot. And the reason why I said it wasn't a great shot is nobody in their right mind. It was luckily an amazing shot that hit the neck, that opened up the jugular, all that right. But that wasn't on purpose. That wasn't a trained shooter did that on purpose. No one's going to aim for the neck. That's silly, right? It would be better to aim for his chest cavity. If you were really, really good, you can aim for like the area in between your nose and your upper lip. If you're going for a headshot, no one aims for the neck. You could also be dumb and just be like, it's got to be a headshot. That's what kills people or something. But I think the shot might have hit the tent anyways. Or something. I think the shot might have hit something and ricocheted. Incredibly bad luck, obviously, for Charlie Kirk. I'm not positive, but I don't think Charlie Kirk had on bulletproof vest. I can't see any compression, or I can see some, like maybe he had a compression shirt on, but I can't see any plates. It does look like maybe he had like Under Armour or some type of compression. Now you can put plates in a compression style shirt that's made for it, but I can't see any imprint of plates, and I can see his nipple in multiple videos. So he does not have on like some type of wraparound Velcro, like a fucking level 3 or some shit, soft body armor. And he doesn't have a ballistic plate that I can see. And if he had on a decent, like, Velcroed vest, you wouldn't be able to see his nipple. All that shit would be covered. Like, you can see his nipple through his shirt. There is a chance that a large size plate is still small enough to expose your nipple, right? It's supposed to cover the center of your chest. And depending on how big you are, maybe you actually need an extra large plate. But depending on how big you are and how you're built, there's a chance that he was wearing a plate. But there's like 6 still images of him getting right before he was hit and when he gets hit. And his shirt is doing some crazy things. Like his shirt stretches this way and it blows up and it goes up a little bit. In all of those, you would think that we would see some type of straight line impression from a plate like this shape, right? You think that we would see one of these lines. You don't. Everything's smooth. Everything is flowing. Everything is in motion. And that's a big hunk of ceramic plate to not. Yeah, it's weird. There's so many people saying that he had a plate on, or that he had a bulletproof vest with ballistic. I mean, it would have to be a set of ceramic plates, right? It was 30-06. He's not getting by with soft armor. Well, very, very, very low likelihood that any soft armor would catch a round that big, and that's not gonna cause it to ricochet. But I'm sure the FBI would do a full. That's what I heard, or that's what I thought originally, and then that's what I heard was that he has them. People don't want to believe this because he's got a microphone in his hand. The microphone in his hand is for the PA system. It's the SM58, right? It's for the PA system where the students can hear him. The what I thought it was on his shirt was it's a wireless DJI mic, and it is for his videos he makes afterwards, right? So he's got somebody recording with 3 different camera angles, and he wears a wireless mic that's picked up, and they record the audio to put it on YouTube. That's what I thought it was, and he explains why it moves around, because it's probably got a magnet or a clip holding it on, so it's gonna move around. The other thing, his ring, jumping fingers. Originally, people thought maybe it's an artifact for the video or something because we're slowing it down frame by frame and it's compressed. But his ring was a hinged ring, so you can find. I should have done it for tonight's show. You can find older. You can find older videos of Charlie Kirk playing with his ring. It's a ring literally with a hinge. Like you can flip it up and it's unhinged. It's in 2 halves, right? It looks like so like if let's see. If this is my bad. Obviously, this is a ring, right? His ring is like this. So it's a half a ring. It has a hinge on it, a very small hinge, and then another half of the ring, right? And the way he plays with it, like flipping it all the time, it seems like it would open pretty easily. So I'm assuming that with the impact and him jerking his arms up, like to fencer's pose, that his ring is just falling off. It's not that it's switching fingers. It's not that it jumped. It's not that it was 2 videos cut together. His ring is just in the process of falling off while we're seeing him go back. And it's on his pinky at the time that we see it. But yes, you can see him playing with it like a fidget toy. Like I spin my ring sometimes just on my finger when I'm like fidgeting. And he flips it open, flips it closed, flips it open all the time in videos. So the hinged ring, I'm trying to think what are some of the other conspiracies. The signals, so his security team, I got an argument today that he had security, but they weren't armed. Are you guys retarded? Anyways, his security team giving signals. Honestly, the first guy, there's 2 guys. One guy touches his nose in his hat. So he like rubs his nose like this and does something like that with his hat. There's a chance that guy was just like rubbing his nose and like moved his hat, right? It doesn't seem super direct for like a signal. The other guy probably is giving a signal, right? The second guy probably is giving a signal. I'll see if I can find the video. And what he's probably doing is telling another security agent that's somebody in the crowd, like, hey, check out that guy, right? Check out the guy with the hat. Or there's a suspicious guy with a hat right there. Do you see him? Kind of deal. Of course, they're going to have signals. I touch my nose a lot. I touch my hat brim a lot when it's forward, when I can see it. When I worked security contracts, we had signals for all kinds of shit. When I was in the Army, we had signals for all kinds of shit. Yeah, I don't think it's as big a deal as people are trying to make it out to be. That they're signaling like, it's go time. It's time to kill him. Tell the shooter to get ready. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me, right? his security team is like a bunch of ex-Navy SEALs, some former Marines. Like, it's weird that here's the video. It's weird that you guys, they've been with him for years. Yeah. The second guy does seem like maybe he was signaling something, but it was probably to another security team member or even the campus security. They had, I think, 6 campus security officers assigned to them. You see the one guy rub his arm? Like, the one guy just does like this. Like that. Like, maybe he's just rubbing his fucking arm. Here's the guy grabbing his hat, right? That guy just rubbed his arm. That's it. I do that all the time. Not sure, but that's super suspicious. Is it, though? I think people overread into stuff. Like, I play with my fucking shirt sleeve sometimes. I scratch my arm underneath my shirt sleeve a lot. Hand signals Charlie Kirk security footage confirmed as deliberate by veteran law enforcement. And that guy's just pulling his shirt around. Like, I don't see how crazy y'all are being. Way too crazy. People are contacting me like, oh, you should check out Phil. Or you really think Charlie Kirk is dead? Yeah, we watched him die, dude. I've seen people get hit like that. Like, I was in Discord saying he was dead. No matter what, the news is telling you critical condition. We're rushing. He's dead. It's done. It's over with. I can only speak to what I saw. It didn't appear natural to me at all. The person in the white cap, who I know as Frank, tips the visor of his cap and touched his ear. He also extended his left arm with the phone forward, glancing to his left at the individual in the, I guess it's cut off there. Guy in the black shirt also makes hand signals right before Charlie was shot. Now, this could just be totally normal if this is his security team, but everyone needs to be questioned immediately and confiscate all their devices. I'll tell you one thing that I did. The one security guard has his phone up, which is not, maybe he's taking a picture or something. When I saw, if I could, when I did private security, if I could, if I had time, if I wasn't like fucking, if I wasn't engaged in other things, I often whipped out my phone and took pictures of people that I found that looked suspicious, that were acting suspicious, that were wearing certain clothing sometimes, that had bulky clothing on, that had clothing that didn't fit. Because if something happens later on, and cops are looking for like, oh, did you see anything suspicious? I'm like, yeah, this guy was wearing a bulky jacket. Everybody else is in fucking T-shirts. I've already got a picture of him. I don't have to worry about my memory describing him, right? I did that all the time. Especially when like the protectee was doing their thing and we were like off to the side, not particularly engaged. Let's say they were in a meeting, right? And we were standing out in the hall, or somewhere where we weren't at. We were just waiting for them to get. I would take pictures of all kinds of people. I would do it. I would do it a lot. I would do it I would hide it a lot better than his team would like stand. But guy might have been taking a picture of the crowd. I don't know how their team works. Or what they consider professional or not. I don't fucking know. Leave no stone unturned. One security guy, I assume, tipped his white cap and touched his ear. The guy in the black shirt used arm gestures moments before the shot. Honestly, if you go back now, there's only about, this is the second person to talk to Charlie Kirk. because somebody sent me a video of a guy talking about the nipple, and he was convinced that it was a ricochet off a ballistic plate, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I can see the nipple. Maybe this had been going on for a while, and he had changed into body armor. After this had only been gone on for 10 minutes. The guy that was asking the question about the trans shooters was the second person to talk to Charlie. Like, it had just fucking started. It wasn't like late in the day. It hadn't been hours. He hadn't, wasn't getting ready to leave. It just fucking started. I don't think they took him out, and at some point there was a break and he went and put on ballistic plates. Like, that doesn't make any sense. He just got started there. Again, when my hat's forward, I pull it down to adjust it. You'll see me do this all the time on screen, like adjusting my hat. One of the hallmarks of an inside job or operation is signaling. That comes in different forms. The man with the white shirt and hat, as well as the guy in the black shirt behind Charlie Kirk, are clearly hand signaling about a sniper and giving the go signal to some. How the fuck would you know that? And let me ask you this. These people are incredibly evil. They do this shit all the time. They're professionals. They couldn't come up with more discreet hand signals? They're using third base coach signals. I thought he said to still second. Was that the sign? Fucking retards. He looks familiar. People behind the Charlie Kirk gave the signal to the sniper. Look at these unnatural arm and hand gestures. Look at the direction the person holding the phone is facing instead of looking at where he is filming. These were point blank ground spotters for the sniper. That's his security team that he's worked with for years. No, that was the sniper spotters. That's not how a spotter works, by the way. The close-up of Charlie from his left video shows three men, a man in gray looks like he is holding something with his arm folded, a man in white and a man in black, both doing hand signals. By the way, these are the people that carried him off later to the car to try to get him to a hospital. So there it is. That guy touches his hat. That guy touches his arm. Later on, this guy on the right behind chat, you can just see him. He's touching his ear like this. And why would you need two people if we don't want this to stand out? Why would you need two fucking people giving two different sets of signals? We're a professional hit squad here, and then they're just going to stand out like a fucking sore thumb? More than likely, the motherfucker's head itched, and the other guy's arm itched. Gunman ascends campus rooftop targeting Charlie Kirk. Escapes in a nearby neighborhood undetected. I don't think this has anything to do with it, but I would be very, 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 very suspicious of the older guy that caused the crazy outburst, right, to get himself arrested. They said that guy has mental health issues. He's known to be arrested for, screaming and yelling and starting shit. But still, I'd be very suspicious of that guy. There it is. That's the universal sniper signal. I think he had it under his shirt, down his pants leg. and padded because it's wrapped up in a towel. And no, it does not break down. I mean, it can be sporterized, right? You can take it down to like an 18-inch barrel, but that's about it.
Your window to India and the world. Midday. Local pulse, global perspective.
I think it's funny that everybody's bragging like, we got him. It turns out like a pastor and his dad turned him in. We got him. We're moving it. We're on top. His pastor and his dad turned him in. Right? Like, what? I'll show you the video someone sent to me. The guy seems like he knows what he's talking about like ballistic stuff, but the issue is the way his shirt moved. The way his shirt moved is weird. You'll see in a second.
It's up to 220 grains, moving from 2,500 feet per second.
Never, ever, ever fall for the myth. People will tell you. When I was in the military, people in the military told me that if you take a 50 cal, if you shoot within like so many inches of somebody, it'll like fucking snap their spine and kill them and blah, blah. None of that's true. Okay? None of that, it doesn't pull a vacuum behind it. That's not happening.
Hey folks, Gary here with Paramount, and I hope everybody out there is doing well. I know at least, half of our nation is in mourning, and I think the entire nation is trying to process all of this, regardless of.
If the guy never had any type of training, like I'm sure he trained himself. I'm sure he grew up with guns. I'm sure he shot really well. Like when he was young, he shot a lot. That's still a lot of pressure at the end. I think he got really lucky. I think you take that probably 9 times out of 10, and there's probably a miss or a non-fatal shot. Yeah.
What side of the aisle or ideology or whatever else that you come from. It's a lot to take in. It's a lot to process. And the other thing that I think most people are wondering is like, where do we go from here?
I think it was definitely planned because some people are reporting that his dad said that he brought, or that his family member said he brought it up at the dinner table, how he hated Charlie Kirk and that he was going to be coming to his old school. Because now the school he goes to is a trade school to be an electrician, but he went 1 semester at that school.
The national political landscape going to look like going forward, and potentially even the rules of discourse. I think we need to continue to honor Charlie Kirk's example and approach everything the same way that he did. And what that means specifically, because I think part of this gets lost, is the fact that he didn't allow lies to exist. So we need to continue to.
Somebody I was arguing with on TikTok just kept moving the goals. They're like, well, he should have had security. I was like, he had his own security. Well, he should have had campus police. Well, they assigned 6 of them. You can argue that's not enough, but they did assign campus police. Well, he should have had armed security. His security is armed, right? His security is an armed security agency. Well, the buildings weren't shut down. They could have had counter snipers. You think they close campus and roll out counter snipers for 3,000 people? Is a thing that happens? What the fuck? They're like, well, they have it at SEC football games. God damn, yeah. I would suspect so. At that point, just don't have the fucking debate, dude. At that point, just don't show up. Don't change my mind at 3,400 feet per second. That was mean. I shouldn't have said that.
Speak out. We need to be respectful. We need to be kind to our opponents. But what we don't do is allow people to propagate lies. We push back on them.
Yeah, an SEC football game is a whole lot different than Charlie Kirk, right? There's 3,000 people at my high school football games. They don't fucking roll out counter snipers for it.
We force them to exchange ideas so that we can
They have them at NFL games.
expose just how silly.
I don't know what their response team is and how they monitor threats and shit, but they definitely have. The NFL has counter snipers.
They believe is, and that's why they want to shut people down. That's why they don't want to debate. That's why they want to destroy people. Now, with all that being said, there's obviously some good news. Today is September 13th. The primary suspect, Tyler Robinson, has been captured, and even that is overshadowed by just tragedy. You know, his father, knowing that he was facing the death penalty, turned him in. That's courageous, but it's also very heartbreaking as a father. I can't even imagine what he's going through. So, you know, multiple families are destroyed in all this. It's all needless. The nation has been affected in a way that I don't know we've been affected since, you know, probably JFK or something along those lines. But I did want to make a follow-up video to the video I released the other day, Charlie Kirk, What Really Happened. If you haven't seen that, make sure you check that out.
Yeah, I remember that was a big thing. You couldn't get telephoto lenses into a bunch of places.
You understand what's going on here. Now, in that video, based on the information I had, I outlined what I think happened. And that was a round striking the top of his body armor, deflecting the round upward, which explains a lot of the physics and the ballistics and some other things.
So the Mauser Model 98, the original 98, has like it's probably 50 inches overall. The K version is probably like 45 inches overall length. The 98A is a little bit shorter than that, I think. I just looked these up earlier. A little bit shorter than that. Overall length would be like 43, 42 inches. And that's if someone hasn't sporterized them, like chop the barrel all the way down to the legal limit. Sometimes they'll even chop the buttstock down or change out the buttstock for a shorter one.
Things going on with that entire event.
For the record, I do not believe Charlie died because of body armor. I believe that round would have been lethal with or without body armor. Your chances are always better with armor. That's true.
Now, several hours after I posted that video, several people were sending me pictures like this one right here. Now, as you can see here, it clearly shows the outline.
Yeah, that's his microphone. I'm almost positive this is a Rode Go or a DJI mic.
Line of Charlie's nipple, and that presents a problem with.
I don't know if you guys can see it, but that's his nipple right there. But I don't see any straight lines. We should see straight lines from the plate. A plate doesn't lay flat. A plate's pretty fucking 3/4 of an inch thick. It doesn't lay flat. You can see his whole pec, right? With no straight definitive like line that goes up and over for a plate.
With the idea that he is wearing some sort of body armor. As a matter of fact, I was receiving these pictures just moments before we were doing a live stream to discuss some of these things. And I showed everybody this picture and I said, hey, look, you know what?
I think he was probably using, so there's different mounts for, I've got mine here somewhere. Where are mine? I don't know. It doesn't matter. So mine have the clip on them, or I can take and slide the clip off and it's got another piece that's a magnet. So I can put a magnet on the inside of my shirt, the microphone on the other side, and it just holds it there. Obviously, you knock it off. It's got the strength of a magnet.
I think I might have got some things wrong on this, folks. Now, right after that live stream, I went through some new footage that was coming out and some additional information, and I actually ran.
Anyone know how there was something saying there was a message? So after the shooting, he was bragging. He was basically bragging on Discord, like, now I'm not the shooter, but I got to go pick up the weapon later from my drop point. So he was saying, he was basically, again, he's got a troll mentality, right? Me too. So the other day I said, well, I just want everybody to know I've got a solid alibi. You know what I mean? But what he was saying is like, well, it's not me, but I got to go pick up a rifle from a drop point later. It has nothing to do with Charlie Kirk, but so he was just talking about observing the drop point to make sure that like they weren't somebody sitting there waiting on him like an ambush and picking up the weapon from a drop location. So that was all about after it happened.
ran into some problems with the no body armor theory. And look, folks, I don't mind being wrong. Well, I mean, I don't want to be wrong. And I spend a lot of time making sure that we're putting together good information and presenting it to you so that you can trust us. You know, I'm not going to let my ego.
Yeah, people forgot about 9/11
of integrity
for sure
on this channel. That's,
oh my God. Did you guys see Trump? Trump. Did you guys see Trump? So out of it and face, like the picture of him at the 9/11 ceremony. He looked like he was fucking lost. Look at this face. This is at the 9/11 ceremony. And I don't know if you've ever watched the 9/11 ceremony. They have it in different places, but the one in New York City, they usually ring a bell every time they read a name. And first responders and people who died, every time the bell went off, he looked confused. He was like, read another name, ding. And this was the face he was making the whole time. Like, what the fuck? But clearly they're either giving him something or it comes and goes. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck's going on. The motherfucker went on Fox News. So Trump is, do not let anybody tell you that Trump loved Charlie Kirk or that he's good friends with Charlie or cared about Charlie Kirk. Trump is on a press tour about it. He wanted to announce that they got the guy before he preemptively announced before the local police department could announce or the governor could announce. He went on Fox News and they said something. Fox News, though they have their faults, said something about, oh, you know, there are, there's radicals on both sides. And Trump comes out and says, yeah, but the people that are radical on the far right, they just want justice. They want law and order. And the ones on the left's the ones you really have to worry about, though. They're crazy. They're vicious. They're murderers. What? I'll find the clip and show you in a minute. Let's finish this video I can't get through.
right? So if I am wrong, I will happily come out and say it and correct the record and give you the most up-to-date information that we possibly can. But as I started looking at some of these pictures, there were some problems that presented, and I just want to kind of show you those issues that I ran into, and you can tell me what you think down in the comments. First problem that I ran into is I don't know where these pictures came from, or at least when those pictures came from.
This is irrelevant. So what he's going to say here is like, well, maybe, you know, it had been going for hours and this was before. And so he put on a plate, his plate later. Maybe they got a threat and they pulled him off stage and said, hey, we got to get ballistic plates on you because there could be a threat in the crowd, or we have speculation, or we heard rumors, or what. No, this was like in the first 10 minutes of the thing. All of it occurred right as soon as it started. The guy that was talking to him, I've seen his interview. I've seen several live streams of the whole event that day because I was looking for shit in the background. But this was literally like the second person that talked to Charlie Kirk.
No real continuity of footage. There's a bunch of different individuals with, you know, iPhone footage and things like that, and we're getting into different times. You know, when we were analyzing different photos and pictures from Butler, Pennsylvania, the attempted assassination on President Trump, we had continuous footage from multiple different news organizations that allowed us to put those smaller snippets from people's cell phones in time, right? Sync everything up. Yeah,
his wife, that was so much a propaganda piece. Like she's in all white, like she's innocent, like she's angelic. She's in the office. We have the empty chair. We have the microphone. We have the 47 hats on the desk. We have the President Trump Time Magazine article behind her. And yeah, it's more propaganda than it is grief. Who grieving makes a national address in all white?
to know when things happen. Currently with this event,
Is white the typical color you would wear in grieving? Did I just miss that?
have this. I don't know how long Charlie Kirk was up there speaking. I don't know if there was a break. Maybe people there can kind of fill us in on some of that information. I don't know if something changed with security where his security team pulled him off, took him to a bathroom or something like that, and said, hey, look, we want you to put body armor on. And I have asked the people to send me.
This did not happen. Okay. Again, let's see. I think we could probably find it. That's not it. I got all my gay albino midget bondage porn on here, so look away if you're a child. The last person to debate Charlie Kirk.
I don't know. And like, whoever, I respect you don't have a live connection, so you lose that.
You disagree with him, the left disagrees with. You know, you can eliminate Charlie Kirk. Dealing with somebody in customer service who's a moronic black woman.
Yeah. Yeah, about Charlie? Or, I mean, I saw some post like, proud to be a UV alum today. And like,
over the last 10 years, counseling about counting gang violence. Great.
I went down pretty immediately, and everyone near me, everyone in the rest of my line, who I've been talking to for the last like few hours, dropped down with me. So,
can you give us kind of a recap of how that conversation with Charlie went?
Sure.
Yeah, so hey, Charlie, hey, hopefully we're gonna have a little bit more disagreement.
So it was, I came in and I said, hey, there was a shooting.
So this guy did a statistical analysis of 5. So if you look at the last 10 years of mass shootings, 5 of them have been trans, which seems like a big number. But if you look at the data, there's been almost 6,000 shootings. 5 out of 6,000 is actually, they're actually below how many trans shooters we think we should have.
That happened maybe a few weeks ago in Minneapolis.
They're still trying to say that the guy is, so their narrative now is, yeah, his parents were Republican. Yeah, he was raised Republicans. Yeah, he was raised with guns. Yeah, he's got a Trump shirt on. Yeah, he does this. They even made a fake photo, a completely fake photo of him. It's either somebody else that sort of looks like him, or they've just photoshopped it, one of the two, saying that he's wearing a Salt Lake Democratic Socialist of America shirt.
Ever since then, about 3 weeks later, the Trump DOJ said that we should start talking about revoking gun rights for transgender Americans.
This is the second person to talk to him.
You think, you agree with this? Is that a fair assessment or something like that? And he said yes. And then I said,
so do you know how many transgender Americans have?
How was the energy whenever you arrived to the event?
Very conservative, for sure. Everyone was very energetic, chanting Trump, chanting USA.
Bring the best libs that Utah has to offer.
There was
Again, it had just started.
Liberals on the rooftop who were holding like pride flags and I think some like Palestine flags and things like that. And, there was a little bit of taunting back and forth, but not very out of hand. Most of the debaters were either like asking questions like who's better, LeBron or Jordan, or like some like theological debates about distinctions between like Mormonism and Christians.
That Jesus Christ was a real person. He lived a perfect life. He was crucified, died, and rose on the 3rd day, and he is Lord, and God will Christ.
But also, the event lasted, I want to say 20 minutes, maybe.
So they didn't pull him out at lunch or bathroom break and get him to put a vest on. It had only been going on 20 minutes.
I really didn't get a good finger on the pulse on what an event would really look like because, I showed up fairly early. I was the second person to speak there. So, the first person was maybe
the second person to speak there.
10 minutes, and I maybe got less than a minute in. So,
can you give us kind of a recap of how that conversation with Charlie went?
Sure.
Yeah, so hey, Charlie. Hey, hopefully we're gonna have a little bit.
The first person went for about 10 minutes, and he got about a minute into his dialogue with Charlie Kirk when the shot fired. So, no, they didn't pull him aside. No, this isn't hours into the versus, when he first got there. I don't think he was wearing ballistic plates.
These screenshots to send me the corresponding.
Maybe he was wearing something super slim that stops 9mm or knives. He wasn't wearing plates.
Footage so I can get a better grasp on Charlie Kirk was up there speaking. I don't know if there was a break. Maybe people there can kind of fill us in on some of that information. I don't know if something changed with security where his security team pulled him off, took him to a bathroom or something like that, and said, hey, look, we want you to put body armor on. And I have asked the people to send me these screenshots to send me the corresponding footage so I can get a better grasp on that, and no one has it. And that's an issue too, because what I can tell you is that this is either a picture and or video footage that I can't find anywhere. And it is clearly a completely different perspective.
Can we find this from the far right angle? Hold on. I don't know if they've pulled a bunch of it down yet or not. I feel like I saw this right angle. I feel like maybe this is zoomed in, but I feel like I saw this angle.
Not counting gang violence. Great. Counting gang violence.
This is all the same one, semi straight on, a little bit to Charlie's right. Sorry, I'm just looking. I don't see it right off the bat.
Than the footage that most of us have seen, this one. You can see right here, this is a screenshot not even a second before he shot. Not only is the person that whoever took this picture or the video footage much closer to Charlie, it is clearly much further to his right, all right, or as the viewers left. So it's a completely different piece of footage that we have no time frame for. So I just don't know if something changed in between there. Now I do think it would be at least a little unlikely that he would go out there without body armor and then they would pull him off stage and then he would go put body armor on. But it's not out of the realm of possibilities. And given that right now we don't have any continuous footage, we don't know if that happened or didn't happen. If you were there and you have information, please send us an email, services@paramounttactical.com. I would love to interview some people that are there and to get your story and to get your perspective of what happened outside of even this. Now, the other problem that I have with this picture is just because we can see his nipple doesn't rule out the fact that he could possibly be wearing body armor. All right, so this is a extra large plate. And if I'm sitting just like Charlie is right there and I have this centered, you still can see my nipple. So that doesn't completely rule it out. And I also want you to notice that it does look like there's a little bit of a contouring effect going on. I would almost bet, regardless of whether or not he's wearing body armor or not, that he has some sort of thin compression shirt underneath his main t-shirt.
Hold on, I found a different angle, but this is way zoomed out.
Over the last 10 years.
Counting or not counting gang violence?
Yeah, I don't think that's the video he's talking about. Sorry.
Now, even with an extra large plate, you can still see
possibly wearing a carrier like this with or without armor, but armor is easily added when desired.
Now, even with an extra large plate, you can still see the outline of a nipple, especially with Charlie Kirk. He's 6'5", he's a big guy. Now, they do sell in, when you're dealing with low-profile executive type protection like this, where you want the most amount of concealment possible, they do make much smaller plates. This is just a representation of an 8x10 plate. You can either get it sappy cut or even something like this. But you guys can see there's a lot of space between the plate and seeing my nipple. So just because we can see the nipple doesn't necessarily rule out him wearing body armor. Now, even I would argue against myself right here. If he was wearing some sort of plate or body armor in this particular picture, even if we could see the outline of his nipple, you would think you would also see the outline of some sort of body armor. Soft, metallic, plate, composite, whatever. But again, we don't know when this picture was taken and we don't know if something's changed. Now, when we look at this shot sequence, at the exact moment everything took place, to me, we can clearly see a mass, some sort of vest or something like that underneath his shirt, move upward and then back down. We can see a fairly distinct edge. It goes down and then it settles even lower at the end of this. So as I see it right now, what we're left with is video footage and pictures that contradict one another. And there may be a very logical, good explanation that we're just not aware of right now. But let's just say I got it completely wrong. Let's say he wasn't wearing body armor. We're kind of left in bizarro world because
You think there's a chance that it struck his collarbone, delivered enough energy to jolt the body down and ricocheted off himself? There's a chance that it hit like here with enough energy to push his body down. His shirt wouldn't go down with him, right? His shirt would be loose and then ricocheted back up into his neck, maybe. I'm watching the video. His shirt does really move in a weird way. I'm watching it at 0.1 speed. Because of the way his shirt moves. I mean, it might have been, but it just looks like his shirt moves in a very strange way.
there's nothing else that explains the physics and the ballistics that we see taking place.
When he gets hit, his shirt rides up, he goes up and down. If that just hit his neck, why is his shirt doing this? Can I go frame by frame on this? Because I don't want to show you. Oh, yeah, I can. I'm going to pull a video over, but we can't go too far, okay? This is Charlie Kirk, obviously. Now, we can't go too far into this. I'll get in big trouble, okay? But watch his shirt. But okay. I've already had, never mind. It's not worth it. The microphone goes down. It looks like somebody grabbed his shirt like this and pulls it up like this and lets it go. That's what it looks like. Watch. Look how high his shirt is up on his neck. You see that? Look how high his shirt just went. Nothing, right? See, it's still moving. His shirt's still up here. I don't think I can't go further than that. 2 frames. His shirt is up at his cheek. What caused that, I guess? I wish I had a different color shirt on because everything's black. It's hard to see. But for 2 frames, his shirt is up like this. Almost, down to his nose. Or up to his nose, I guess. I was going to say eye level, but it's really more like his nose. But see how his face is down? Maybe it hit his collarbone and drove his body down in his shirt. I don't know. That still doesn't make much sense.
Place in the video footage. And let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. So this picture right here, we see a couple things.
Oh, I didn't realize he was about to show it.
Going on. So first of all, I would say it sure does look like there is an outline of a plate there. But the thing I want you to really focus on here is the fact that the left side of his t-shirt collar is pulled up almost to his left ear.
No, bullets don't suck things. They don't create vacuums. They just don't do that.
That is really, really hard to explain if he took a direct shot to the neck.
There it is from the side. That's a lot of movement out of his shirt. You know what I'm saying?
No.
It's almost like the bullet hit like fucking the table or some shit and come up through his shirt.
I've heard a lot of people try to explain this away as saying, hey, it was a direct hit. And what we see here is just this is caused by an air.
Yeah, we would. We would, but I don't know. I don't know that you're going to be able to see it in the 2 frames before he just like rolls over onto the ground. But investigators will. They'll see it.
Air turbulence or a vacuum effect of this 30 caliber round with a direct hit to the neck. Folks, that's just nonsense. A projectile flying through the air, even a 30 cal projectile, which is fairly large, doesn't displace enough air to create some sort of vacuum effect or air turbulence that would even come close to explaining what we're seeing right here. But you don't have to take my word for it. Let's check out this video from High Speed Ballistics. It's a really cool video. You should watch the whole thing, but this is them exploring the myth that a 50 cal creates so much of a vacuum effect that it doesn't even have to hit you to kill you.
We are within a bullet's diameter of that flower.
That's a 50 cal.
From the bullet.
It's a 50 cal flying beside flour, like cooking flour, baking flour, and it doesn't move it.
Shockwave in the tissue. It did something. It did something.
These myths about the rounds flying close enough to you to snap your neck or move your clothes or what, they're just not true.
So until it actually impacted a playing card, nothing.
So as you can see, even with the 50 cal, there is not enough air turbulence or vacuum effect that will even disturb a near miss of flour, much less explain what is going on with Charlie's shirt and this large amount of mass that looks like it's underneath his shirt moving upward and then coming back down. Now let's talk about the most significant problem with this idea that it was a direct hit to the neck. And that is the fact that if it was a direct hit to the neck is it's fairly thin, and it's 8 to 10 inches. It is.
I feel like if it had been a direct to the neck, we would have seen it would have had a cavity. We would have seen the neck fucking flare out for a second and then back in.
Not super dense, and even if that projectile hit his vertebrae, we would 100. It's a 30-06. Any rifle caliber, doesn't matter even if it hits his vertebrae, we would see an exit wound, and there is no evidence. And folks, the exit wound would be significantly larger than the entrance wound. We would see just as much profuse bleeding from the exit wound as we saw from the entrance wound. That doesn't exist. To me, that alone forces us to come up with some additional reasons as to what's going on with that projectile.
We don't see an exit wound.
And the only thing that makes sense is that whether it was a body armor or whether it was, I don't know, doesn't matter. That is that we have.
How wild would it be if the shot was way the fuck off and he got hit with a ricochet?
Some sort of deflection that takes that projectile straight from this way up to that way. And I told you guys in the last video, if you look at, and I'm not even going to show it, like that entrance wound is much larger than it should be. The neck has a lot of elastic tissue. Typically what we'd see in an entrance wound is a very, very small wound. And probably, given the frame rate that we're looking at in the slow motion, we probably would.
No exit wound that we can see, but people are going to say, oh, it come out his back. We don't have an angle from the back. We would see that blood that is just pouring out the front. Some of that would come out the back. Like, we should be able to see it on video, especially from that side shot.
If it was a direct hit,
people would have been covered with it.
Probably wouldn't even see an entrance wound at all in the video, but it opens up very large.
I mean, the shooter might have been off by literal feet. Imagine he hits a table at a shallow enough angle to... Okay, listen. A lot of people think, oh, a bullet would go through that. I've seen drywall. The shit you can punch through, right? Drywall in your house. I've seen drywall change direction of bullets. That's why when you're going in a house, bullets follow walls. They'll teach you bullets follow walls. Don't lean. People automatically want to get small in a hallway and get up against a wall. You can shoot at a shallow enough angle into a wall that the bullet will come off the wall and come right down beside it and fuck you up.
Very quick, and of course we have extremely profuse bleeding coming from his neck. But I do believe the reason that we have such a large entrance wound is because we have a projectile that hits something, is deformed, is deflected upward, possibly even fragmented, and then we have a much more angular entrance like this, which makes the wound larger. But probably most importantly, that's the only thing that explains no exit wound with a 30-06. Like there's almost nothing else that can explain that. Now I've also heard the explanation that it deflected off of his collarbone. Folks, that's nonsense. Not with 30-06. You have a projectile that's 140 grains up to 220 grains, moving from 2,500 feet.
You think it would just 2,500 to 3,400 feet per second? It'd probably just destroy the collarbone.
Per second, almost 3,000 feet per second. That collarbone isn't, the bullet's not going to even know the collarbone's there. It's going to smash through that. There's absolutely zero chance that the collarbone would deflect the bullet in that manner. Now, the other circumstantial evidence that I have is this direct message. I messaged this person.
But we're not talking about the full bullet being deflected. We're talking about a fragmenting off and coming and being deflected, which is a possibility.
On X, knowing that he was in contact with.
And then apparently I heard today that they rushed and buried him, that there wasn't an autopsy.
Charlie and his team, and this was his response. Charlie wears his vest pretty much all of the time now. I've heard Erica insist, but he refers to his favorite vest as being stealth. When I have confirmed 100%, I'll let you know. All right, so, this video is not about me wanting to be right. If I'm wrong, I will happily come out and admit it. I've got no issues with that. I want to make sure that we put out the truth. But all I'm saying is that there's, right now, with the information that we have, there's nothing else that explains what is going on with the physics and the ballistics, during the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And again, as soon as I get more information, I will come out and I will update you guys.
I don't know if that's true. That's just what I heard. That they did like a rush burial thing, and she didn't want to put him through an autopsy because they know what happened.
But I do think people want answers, because we look at this whole situation and it just feels off, right? That's why people are watching these videos. That's why people are staying tied to the news. There's a lot of strange things in and around this. And folks, if you watch any of my Butler coverage, I loathe like these weird conspiracy theories, multiple shooters, like all this stuff, right? But I do feel like there's some strange things going with this. And by the way, during our live stream the other night, we watched the news conference, and this was prior to the shooter being apprehended. That was the most embarrassing and silly news conference I've ever seen. They released footage, and there's some weird things about the footage too. They released footage that looked like it had been filmed on a potato, and then during that news conference, instead of giving that footage directly to the different news organizations, they were taking video of a monitor that had all kinds of glare, things like it was almost a clown show. At the beginning of this administration, I was a really big fan of Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. And I'm still trying to give them some slack, but I was appalled about the fact that Kash Patel just walked up, made an...
I mean, less than a day after, they already had his body in a casket being flown home on Air Force One. So typically the autopsy's done before any of that. So and
didn't give a statement, neither him nor Dan Bongino. Real quick, I do want to point out some other weird things about that footage. So they played that footage of the shooter running on top of the roof, getting off the roof, and then running over to allegedly a wooded area. And that was all shown on a pan, tilt, zoom camera that was tracking said shooter. Who was panning, tilting, and zooming? And are you telling me that there was a security person?
I don't think that's what was going on. I think that we're zooming in after the fact.
But I was appalled about the fact that Kash Patel just walked up, made an appearance, and didn't give a statement, neither him nor Dan Bongino. Real quick, I do want to point out some other weird things about that footage. So they played that footage of the shooter running on top of the roof, getting off the roof.
I think what we're seeing here is like a security footage that covers this whole area, and then after the fact, they went in and zoomed in on this guy.
And then running over to allegedly a wooded area. And that was all shown on a pan, tilt, zoom camera that was tracking said shooter. Who was panning, tilting, and zooming? And are you telling me that...
And then we zoom back out and show this corner again.
Security person on the other side of that camera that was aware that there was a shooting taking place, which would make sense as to why that they ran to and started looking at this camera. And they're tracking this person jump off of a roof, and they're not simultaneously reporting to local authorities or FBI's. I think we need that question answered. I don't know, maybe somebody out there that has a little bit more subject matter expertise in security camera footage, maybe they're recording 270 degrees and they're able to pan tilt.
Yeah, I think that's what's going on. And then in the replay, they're doing their shit.
In post. I don't know. Somebody give me that information. I don't know. I'm just a little disappointed in the Kash Patel FBI. When it comes to the Epstein files, when it comes to finding more information about J6, when it comes to finding more information about the Russia collusion hoax and holding people accountable, there's just a lot of problems from the previous administration that I thought we would see more accountability being provided by this administration.
Of course, he's a Trumper.
And specifically Kash Patel and Dan Bongino. And maybe it's just taking time and we're all going to be surprised in the end. Right now, I'm not impressed with that. The last thing I want to address.
Oh, shit. It's September, guys. 25% off a 1 month sub, 25% off 3 month subs, 30% off 6 month subs. And the best part, streamers get the same payout as a full price sub. So there you go. It's September.
That I'm disgusted by is all the hateful rhetoric that we're seeing from the left, from very prominent people on social media and celebrities and everything else, saying that they're glad Charlie Kirk died. A lot of people are even posting quotes from Charlie Kirk out of context and basically saying you got what you deserved. So I continue to be disgusted. Even
No, not out of context. Even the full clip is not good. The person asks him and says, "Hey, There's a lot of people upset because we just had a shooting a few days ago. How do we defend that? And what do we say to these people to let them know that we still want to get our keep our guns? And he says, hey, you're going to have some gun deaths. That's okay, as long as we get to keep our rights.
But not surprised by the evil and the hate that the left continues to display. And what really drives me crazy is the false equivalency that we see. Like, there's nothing to compare the majority of the right to the majority of the left. And I do think this tweet...
Right, like when Paul Pelosi was attacked by a hammer and everybody made fun of him. Or when Melissa Hortman and her husband and their dog were assassinated in their home and everybody pretended like he was some radical leftist.
By Donald Trump Jr. kind of sums it up nicely.
You got it.
Notice that when one of our heroes was assassinated in cold blood in front of thousands of people, including his wife and young kids, that not a single store in America had to board up their windows. That tells us everything you need to know. I think he's right. All right, so I don't know how much answers I provided to anybody, if any. For those of you wanting to know what things look like in the future and are concerned and worried, now for those of you that continue to be worried about
fucking loser
in the future, where our country is headed, I would say this. The reason that we're where we're at is because we gave up so much ground.
I saw a tweet. That said, how do we know Charlie Kirk didn't drive a drug overdose?
We allowed ideologies to infiltrate our school. We allowed
a fentanyl overdose
us in our beliefs to the point that most people were kind of cowered into silence. Well, you can't be silent anymore. We can't give up what we've given up. And I think, again, a lot of that is the reason we let them become empowered. And the worst thing, the scariest thing, is that we allowed them to take our children and completely change the trajectory of their minds, of their lives, to where you end up with somebody like Tyler Robinson, which he seems to come from a really good family, but he has been so filled with hate in
really good family.
And convinced that someone like Charlie Kirk is an existential
in one semester in college, he was indoctrinated.
Threat that he has to do something.
By the way, Megyn Kelly, who was spreading this misinformation that he was indoctrinated to become a leftist lunatic in college, has a bachelor's and a master's degree. Just in case you're keeping score here.
End it. We can't allow that to happen anymore. We got to stand up. You guys got to get out there, make sure your voices are heard. Fight for what you believe in.
I think that whole thing behind that is, there's obviously in college, you like open up your horizons, you learn about things. It's not this liberal machine they claim it to be, but a lot of people start questioning the beliefs that they've had at home. Just go ask somebody that's like a devout Christian and be like, why are you Christian? And they'll say, I was a Christian as a kid. Most of them. Or why are you this? Why are you that? Well, my parents were. And of course, when you go to college, you're out on your own for the first time. Of course, it's going to open your horizons. And some people do change their beliefs. I've changed my beliefs fucking way later than college area. I used to be a Trump supporter. Voted for him, campaigned for him, worked the phone banks for him. I've changed my beliefs. But I also think that the right wing has a vested interest in keeping their voters dumb. How many people are going to tell you that you shouldn't go to college and your kids shouldn't go to college and your grandkids shouldn't go to college because it'd make you a liberal, and they have multiple fucking degrees? They have multiple fucking degrees while they're telling you this.
That's really what it comes down to. All right, hopefully this was helpful, but until next time, stay armed, stay ready. We'll talk to you soon.
Oh, good God. In the arms of an angel. Hi, I'm Sarah McLaughlin. For just $1.36 a round. Oh, I thought he was going somewhere else. My bad.
Hey guys, thanks so much for checking out my channel. I really appreciate it. Please click to subscribe.
Yeah, it was bad. It was all propaganda.
Where Tyler Robinson is being held right now. Tyler Robinson is the man that authorities say shot and killed Charlie Kirk, a 22-year-old man, arrested 10 p.m. Thursday night. I'm getting new details. I just got all of the court documents. I'm going to go through everything that I know about Tyler Robinson at this point in this episode. Also talking to a former FBI agent with some sources about how all of this went down. Why did Tyler Robinson do this? His family says he got more into politics, that he did not like Charlie Kirk, but what would turn him into a killer? I'm getting into all of it in this edition of Brian Ensign Investigates. Hey guys, so I just got the official charging documents from the court here in Utah for Tyler Robinson. The charges right now are aggravated murder, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, and obstruction of justice, capital first-degree felony conduct. We know that the governor is asking for the death penalty. And I just want to read you, this is the probable cause affidavit. I want to read it to you word for word so you know exactly what they are basing these charges on. It says the following information was obtained by your client from police officers, multiple video recordings, posted on social media websites, Utah Valley University campus surveillance cameras, and those who witnessed the incident. On September 10th, 2025, Charles James Kirk was at Utah Valley University, UVU, campus in Orem, Utah for a political event. Mr. Kirk is a conservative political activist who was scheduled to speak at an event in the courtyard area of the UVU campus. The courtyard area is the west of the Lucy Center building. According to video recordings, Charles was wearing a white t-shirt and dark pants, sitting under a white canopy in a courtyard of the campus facing to the east. The event was attended by hundreds of individuals. Charles was surrounded by people with multiple individuals to his left, right, and rear and front of the canopy. Behind the canopy was a walkway used for access to various parts of the university. Charles was holding a microphone and speaking to a crowd. While speaking into the microphone, a loud gunshot was heard at approximately 12:23, and Charles appeared to have been hit in the neck. Blood was seen coming out of the left side of his neck as he fell over to his left. Charles was transported to the hospital in Orem. Charles was pronounced deceased at the hospital. Investigators reviewed the Utah Valley University surveillance cameras. While reviewing the surveillance cameras, investigators observed an individual on the rooftop of the Lucy Center building on the UVU campus at the time of the shooting. Hereafter, the unidentified individual will be referred to as suspect. Based on surveillance camera footage, suspect appears to be a white male with dark-colored hair, wearing a dark-colored hat, sunglasses, a long black sleeve shirt with a picture of an American flag and colored shoelaces. The shoes appear to be consistent with Chuck Taylor Converse-style shoes. Suspect is also carrying a dark-colored backpack on his back. Suspect walks with a distinctive gait. This is interesting here. Prior to the shooting, suspect appears to walk off with a stiff...
See this? That looks like the bottom of a buttstock and the trigger guard. I think it's down his pants.
Right leg prior to the shooting and at a relatively slow pace. Suspect's ability to bend his right leg appears to be restricted. Remember, there's this theory that he had the gun, the rifle, under his clothes in that TMZ video when he was walking to the shooting and, under his shirt and pants, and that's why he was limping like that, because he was not limping like that in the surveillance video. Investigators were able to track suspects' movements on the UVU campus starting at approximately 11:50 on September 10th. At approximately 11:50, a UVU surveillance camera first captured suspect walking across a grassy area north of Campus Drive at approximately 800 West. Suspect walked south through the parking lot and approached a pedestrian tunnel that runs underneath Campus Drive. Before entering the tunnel, suspect paused at the top of the stairs and pulled out what appeared to be a cell phone from his right pocket using his right hand at approximately 11:53. Suspect eventually put what appears to be a cell phone back in his right pants pocket using his right hand. Surveillance captured suspect making his way toward the Lassie Center. At approximately 12:02, suspect was recorded walking on the north side of this building, walking with the same gait as observed earlier. Suspect entered the building through a set of doors on the southeast corner and walked to a short concrete wall that separates the common area from the rooftop of the building. At approximately 12:17, suspect climbed over the short wall and appeared to crouch down on the north side of the wall on the rooftop. At approximately 12:22, suspect stood up and started running across the rooftop. The notable limp from the previous surveillance video was absent, and I noticed that too. I pointed that out in the video that I posted early this morning. The surveillance video of him running is very different than the video that TMZ posted, where he has a major, limp. So then it says. Suspect ran to the west side.
Maybe it's not down his pants then.
Rooftop and appeared to scoot along the rooftop area as he got closer to the edge of the rooftop. At approximately 12:22, suspect laid down in a position consistent with a prone shooting position near the edge of the rooftop and appeared to be facing west in the direction of the courtyard area. The rooftop of the building overlooks the courtyard area where the event featured Charlie Kirk was taking place. The building is east of the courtyard area. At approximately 12:23, Charlie Kirk was shot.
He dropped something, I think.
Surveillance shows the suspect stood up suddenly from the edge of the rooftop and sprinted north on the rooftop. Suspect ran to the northeast corner and approached the edge of the rooftop. Suspect placed a dark-colored item on the rooftop and proceeded to lower himself off the rooftop. Again, this is the video that we've seen. Suspect dropped off the rooftop onto the grass below. Suspect ran north near the parking lot to the east of the Lassie Center at approximately 12:24. Suspect ran north across the Campus Drive Road. Suspect appeared to be carrying an item whose identity is not clear from the surveillance. The area to the north of Campus Drive Road where suspect crossed over consists of a grassy area with trees on the edge of the UVU campus. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. The rifle was determined to be a...
You think it's just the footage is so bad it's just blended in with the backpack at that point?
Bolt-action rifle. The rifle had a scope mounted on top of it. Investigators noted inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle. Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices bulge OWO, what's this?" Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, catch," up arrow symbol, right arrow symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. The second...
Oh, by the way, the arrow symbols are from a video game. The "Hey fascist, catch" from a video game, Helldivers.
Unfired casing read, "Oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO," so laughing my ass off. Investigators also discovered a shoe impression on the northeast corner rooftop edge of the building. The shoe impression was located in the vicinity where the suspect climbed down from the rooftop. The shoe impression is consistent with the shoe sole characteristics, again, of Converse. So on the evening of September 11, 2025, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. The information was relayed to Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at UVU. The information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators revealed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on the UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a...
I hope his wife goes and to be a fucking mother to the fucking kids.
A maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with the surveillance images. So this is also what I reported, that what he was wearing in the surveillance images matched up with what...
Have you guys ever... Helldivers is... have you guys ever seen Starship Troopers? In Starship Troopers, they're fighting aliens, and they're like so brainwashed. Like, this is for the country, and they're like losing limbs, and they're like, fuck it. We got to do this for the country, the country, the country. That's what the Helldivers video game is like. It's actually, it's loosely based on that type of world.
What he was wearing when they got to the house. His parents are where he was in Washington, Utah. Investigators interviewed a family member of Robinson who stated that Robinson had become more political in recent years. The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson.
The family member said that Charlie Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate, is what he just said, if I'm not mistaken. We'll listen to it again.
Spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also confirmed Robinson had about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had. The family member also with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU.
Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU.
They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate. The family member also said, so they talked about Charlie Kirk and they didn't like him. He was coming to the school. Robinson, the shooter. The family member said that Charlie Kirk is full of hate and spreading hate. So confirmed Robinson had a gray Dodge Challenger. Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson.
That's right.
The roommate, who stated his roommate made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it, showed several messages to investigators, and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen.
By the way, they're not trying to say that this that he had a trans roommate who he was mad at Charlie Kirk for attack. None of this is true.
As each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. Tyler stated a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits. And then it says, based on the detailed evidence in the statement, I believe there's probable cause that Tyler Robinson committed the crimes, and that's pretty much it. That's the probable cause affidavit. But I wanted to read it to you guys word for word because this is exactly what they're basing the charges on. This is exactly what authorities have used to arrest Tyler Robinson in the death of Charlie Kirk. You heard them mention, write about what the different inscriptions were on the bullet casings. We've done some research. I want to read this to you. So the notice is bulges OWO. What's this? It appears to be a reference to comments used for trolling, has roots in an online role play community, video game streaming, part of an internet meme back in 2018, ties to animated videos and furries. The hey fascist catch, that's obviously we all know what that means. Up arrow, right arrow, and 3 down arrow symbols appears to be a reference to a sequence of controller moves that unleashes bombs on the popular video game Helldivers 2. Oh, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Bella Ciao, Ciao Ciao appears to be a reference to an Italian anti-fascist song during World War II, the song dedicated to resistance fighters against the Nazi troops occupying the country during World War II, described as an anti-fascist rallying cry. And then if you read this, you are gay, laughing my ass off. Perhaps the shooter's message to Kirk based on previous comments by him on the community. We don't know exactly what the, obviously that just,
I won't let my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis symptoms define me.
Oh my God, shut up.
He meant white, posted that in particular. But that's the latest. That's the official government document. So I know there's a lot of stuff going around on social media. This is exactly word for word why they are charging Tyler Robinson with the assassination of Charlie Kirk. I'm joined now by former FBI agent Bobby Chacon. Bobby, thank you for being with me. I'm outside the jail right now where Tyler Robinson is being held here in Utah. What do you make of the fact of the way this went down? I mean, the arrest was 10 o'clock last night. What do you know about how this happened? Apparently it was his dad and then a family friend who sort of coordinated and alerted authorities.
Yeah, I had heard about last night. I had heard that a close family member was cooperating with.
It's weird. I think that Nick Fuentes might be a closeted homosexual and he hates it so much, or like he pretends to hate it so much. I think it's like a self-hatred kind of deal.
With the authorities, and so I knew a arrest was probably imminent when I went to bed last night, and it appears to be just that. I knew also, and I think I said this yesterday, that given those photographs, that someone's going to recognize this guy. Those were very good photographs. You can see his build, his gait, his general facial features, and anybody that knew that guy was going to see that photo and go, oh, that's so and so, and so I knew that he'd be identified fairly quickly. Then it was a matter of finding him. Did he go on the run? Did he go back to family members? Apparently, in this situation, it looks like he went right back home, and he was where he was always going to be. And so I've heard that he might have been thinking about harming himself. His father may have talked him out of that, and so. Yeah, it's a bit of a different type of situation where the person didn't take their life at the scene and they didn't go on the run. And so I guess he was sitting there waiting to be found because I couldn't possibly fathom that he thought he was going to go assume his prior life and no one was going to know he did this.
What about one thing that I zeroed in on with the press conference is the roommate. Apparently, he had been messaging a roommate asking that person to go and retrieve the gun from the wooded area, and they found these messages when they went through Robinson, the suspect's phone. Could the roommate be in trouble? I mean, what do you make of that?
Well, first, I wish they would have had a prosecutor on stage at the press conference, which is what they normally do, to kind of walk us through what are the first charges going to be, and then what later charges might be added. But they chose not to have a prosecutor on stage at the press conference. But I was struck by the same thing. I can only theorize that they saw those text messages. They went to the roommate and said, were you in cahoots with this guy? Were you conspiring? And because originally when I saw or heard about the text, it seemed like they had a plan. Like he was going to ditch the gun in a certain place, and the roommate was going to go retrieve it. I can only think, since the roommate has not been charged yet, at least, that the roommate had either said, hey, he just texted me after I didn't know what he was going to do. I didn't know he was going to even have this attack, plan this attack. I didn't know he was going to drop the weapon. But as soon as he texted that to me, I said, hey, I'm not getting involved. Whatever that exchange took place, it seemed like that satisfied the authorities, or else I could see him being brought in for being at least an accessory after the fact.
The governor said at this point they don't believe anyone else.
No, Fuentes went into, he was a man of God and was open about his belief and how much he loved God and blah, 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 all that shit.
Do you
Candace Owens is saying that he was assassinated because he's about to come out against Israel.
think that's the case? Do you think they may investigate and realize he was working with someone else?
I mean, they'll certainly investigate that. And I think that at this point, they'll investigate the weapon, how he got to use the weapon. Was he a hunter? Was his family hunters? Did someone teach him to use that weapon? How proficient he was with that weapon? And they'll first look at that and then see, okay, how did he get this? Because this was a deadly shot. Now, it wasn't an impossible shot, but it was a one-shot kill. And so I think that they'll probably be investigating that, the weapon, his proficiency with it, who taught him to shoot. And then they'll look at Discord and they'll look at his other online communications to see, I think in this case, they probably will only find people that maybe commiserated with him, maybe cheered him on to do this if that occurred. But I don't know that they're going to find somebody that actually provided assistance to him, because it doesn't seem like he had much assistance with either the pre-planning or the post-planning. The pre-planning particularly, because that's very interesting, that if he had been on that campus previously, and if he had been on that roof previously and things like that.
There must have been, though, some level of planning, right? I mean, just me, even when I was out there, to know where to get up on the roof, to know where the event was going to be, to know where you could get a clear shot, to be able to get away. You have to imagine there was some thought put into this.
Oh yeah, there was definitely pre-event planning, and I read a profile recently.
The only good part about him not already being dead, is that maybe he'll explain himself.
Just yesterday from my good friend Jim Clemente, FBI profiler, and he said that most likely this guy did a lot of pre-planning but very little post-attack planning, other than getting away from the scene. And in fact, it became true, just what Jim said. In fact, this guy had rage. The rage drove his anger to carry out this violent attack. But that rage doesn't, because you're not a master criminal, that rage doesn't carry on to, okay, I'm now going to plan this attack. I'm going to flee the country. I'm going to live somewhere in anonymity. It just kind of carries you through the event that's going to, you think, is going to release all this tension and this anger that you have. And it never does, of course. But I think the way their minds work, according to people like Jim and profilers, that they're all geared up and they plan to carry out the attack, but then they kind of come down from that high and they don't really do a whole lot of post-event planning, and that seems to be the case here. He did plan. He knew exactly where to go. He went up the stairwells, so that he kept himself out of the major part of the crowd. He picked a place where he wouldn't be seen by a whole lot of people. He had to have been there before, because there's no way you would know that unless you're there and put your eyes on that scene. So he did have that walkthrough, that pre-planning, how to get to the stairwell, how to get on that roof, how to get off the roof. You just don't walk over to the side of a building and decide to jump off of it. You have to know that there's a certain amount of space, that you're not going to break your leg, that there's a soft landing spot or whatever. So he had to do all of that pre-event planning. The fact that he brought a towel with him, the fact that he brought a change of clothes, it sounds like, with him. Yeah, there was a good amount of pre-attack planning on it. Not as much post-attack planning, but certainly pre-attack planning.
In terms of the bullet casings, I'm just going to read this. They had several things, inscriptions engraved in them. One was notices bulges, OWO, what's this? If you read this, you are gay, LMAO, which is laughing my ass off. Hey, fascist, catch, with an arrow symbol. There was an up arrow symbol, a right arrow symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. And then there was another inscription that read, oh, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow, Chow. Does any of this stuff stand? I mean, obviously the fascist thing, we know what that means, but does any of the other stuff stand out to you?
Well, I think the Bella Ciao thing, and I've come to learn this, was a kind of a communist mantra in World War II who were fighting the fascists, right? And so that seems to be where that came from. So it does seem like he was wrapped up in this kind of fascist ideology that we have.
You can't expect 50-year-old, 60-year-old people to explain internet memes to you. I don't know. The news is failing at this too.
The fascists, that these people are literally Hitler and they're going to do these horrible things to us. And so he got himself into that mental space where, these kinds of people were a direct threat, to him. And, obviously that's a sick and twisted view, which wasn't true, wasn't based in reality, but that seems to be, where he was at.
Do you know anything about those arrows? Have you heard anything on that?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I'm sure our people are really poring over the interpretation of those things.
Video game.
And we may hear more about that when we see a charging document. There'll be an affidavit when he's originally charged with either information or complaint, and there'll be an affidavit in there. Whether or not they get into the minutia of the meaning of those etchings, I don't know. They usually don't. They usually use the bare minimum to keep him in custody, and that's probable cause. So I think that we'll wait to see what the interpretation is. I'm sure we'll see people theorizing on that, but I don't have any particular insight into those etchings.
The governor said that the suspect, his family said he had become more political recently, and then just spoke to them about a dislike for Charlie Kirk. I guess one thing that I'm hung up on, Bobby, that disturbs me more than anything is how someone, and I've just seen pictures of his family, and I don't know much about them yet, but they look like nice people. I mean, just based on the pictures that I've seen, they live in rural Utah. A lot of people here in Utah are really nice. I guess I'm troubled by how someone goes from, maybe a normal kid to, not liking or getting into politics, not liking Charlie Kirk, to where you would want to kill someone.
I mean, he deserves the fucking death penalty. I don't know how else to put it, but it is what it is.
Will the FBI look into all of that? I mean, it seems like bigger picture, we need to understand how that happens.
Yeah, well, there's kind of two teams. There's a team of FBI agents that are working on this case, so to spek, and what they need to prosecute this case and make sure.
So there is apparently a move in Helldivers to call in you remember back in, I've never played Helldivers, but you remember back in Call of Duty when you call in a nuke, like a tactical nuke after you got some like a kill streak. Well, there's like a move in Helldivers to call in like a special move, and it is that arrow pattern, right? So the bullet says, "Hey, fascist, catch." Then it has the arrow pattern on it, engraved in it. That's that arrow pattern.
Get a conviction, and that's a very careful process. Beyond that, you'll have the behavioral analysis unit where the profilers are housed at Quantico.
I think it's up, down, down, down. Is that what it was?
Doing a deeper dive into the mentality just to see if there's anything they can advise. So they put out these advisories to school districts, to community leaders, and things like that, and say, hey, look, this is what we found, and this is how you might want to counter it. Now, I mean, we've talked about it before. This is the rhetoric that's been ratcheted up. I mean, and even after this, attack, we've seen politicians, like J.D. Pritzker and people like that seem to be, instead of lowering rhetoric, actually adding to it. And so it's really about ratcheting down the rhetoric.
Up, right, down, down, down. Okay.
What he did was he probably consumed a lot of stuff online, and there's just such hateful rhetoric. When you see the word fascist, that's a very.
I remember the down, down, down.
And it's really kind of hypocritical.
Liam plays Helldivers.
I'm going to kill this guy because he's filled with hate. When murdering someone in cold blood is the epitome of hate, a father and a husband. And so it's the ultimate hypocrisy to say, I'm going to murder this guy because he's so filled with hate. Well, what are you filled with when you can put a bullet in someone who's not doing anything violent to anybody else or hurting anyone? It's just his words. And that's why I consider this, because our free speech is at the foundation of our democracy. I consider this a threat to our democracy when you start killing people.
I think people do struggle with this guy saying he's never done anything hateful. Okay. Let's not use Charlie Kirk. Let's break down a hypothetical. Would you feel like you needed to kill me if I said that a select group that you're in is evil? What if I said it was immoral? What if I said the Bible tells us that we should kill those people? What if I said that those people deserve death? What if I told a group of people that there would be no consequences if they happen to kill you? What if I paid those people? What if I looked the other way with those people? What if I provided materials to those people? When is the line, right? Where is the line? I'm not saying Charlie Kirk crossed the line and deserved to die. I know that it'd be taken out of context. I'm just saying I do think people have a problem understanding where the line is, right? If I threaten you and say, hey, I'm going to have you killed online versus in person versus over the phone versus actually hire a hitman, where is the line? Is it the first action you take? Is it telling someone else to take action? I do think people have a problem with deciding where the line is.
Because you disagree with their positions. I mean, that's a direct threat on our democracy. Charlie Kirk was
not just on the left, on the right, everywhere, right? The right's been saying for years that the left's trying to kill them and they're persecuted and right-wing Christians are the worst. They always think they're under attack.
Going back to the old days where we used to have two people in a town square stand up on literal soapboxes and debate the issues of the day. That's what we do. That's democracy. And if you watch Charlie's videos, you see him let people talk. And
when people say that violence has no place in politics, that's just not true. I'm not saying we should do it. I'm not saying that you should do it. I'm not saying that anybody should do it. But politics is molded around violence. All the way from assassinations and wars and this and that and invasions and colonization and all the way up to laws that are passed that are violence against people. You can't tell me that. Let's take the DACA kids, right? Kids that have never known another country are shipped out of our country to a country supposedly they're from, they've never been to, without money or finances, or some of them don't even speak the fucking language. Is that not violence against them? How long do you think those people are going to last? What about the people sent to CCOT, a terrorist prison? One of them was because he had an autism awareness tattoo. Is that not violence?
He's pondering that what they're saying, and he's kind of putting his response together in his mind. You can see his thought process, but he's letting the person talk. Then he responds. Then he lets the person respond to their response. He was very respectful in that way and giving people these platforms that they normally don't have. He was the only one out there doing it. And believe me, he could have taken a high-priced, high-paying contributor job on some network where he's hidden behind a camera, but he was out there among people, and he was doing kind of democracy's business. He was letting people talk. He was giving them those microphones that they wouldn't have had a platform to talk elsewhere. And so to take this guy out, to me, our democracy is a lot weaker today than it was before he was killed.
Yeah, it just seems.
All right, guys. It looks like OBS is working. And this is just mostly a stream to test it out. I'll be back tomorrow. Thank you all for joining us. It's 1:30 a.m. here. I'm going to hop off here. The update fucked it up. Like, I had to go back and uninstall OBS, reinstall it, and try to put all my extensions up. But it seems like it's working. I don't think we got any donations, but I'm not sure the animations are working right now. I still need to fix those tonight before I go home. So I'm going to end it there. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I'm not condoning anything. I'm just saying that other people draw their lines in other places. And I'm not currently being persecuted by the current administration, short of just being on the lefts. But there are a lot of people that are. And Trump's bullshit with, hold on, do I still have that up? Hold on. I'll leave you with this.
As well. We have radicals on the right as well. We have radicals on the left. People are watching all of these videos and cheering. Some people are cheering that Charlie was killed. How do we fix this country? How do we come back together?
I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see crime. They don't want to see crime.
Worried about the border.
They're saying, we don't want these people coming.
So the radicals on the right may be bad, but they're just here for justice.
And we don't want you burning our shopping centers. We don't want you shooting our people in the middle of the street. The radicals on the left are the problem. And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically...
This is our president protecting the radicals on the right, saying, hey, they just want justice. They just want to stop crime. They just wanted to stop people coming across. And the radicals on the left are horrible. They will murder you. They will kill you. They will attack you. This is our president. The same one that wouldn't even call Tim Walz when Melissa Hortman and her husband and her dog were assassinated by a far-right radical lunatic.
And they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy. Although they want men and women sports, they want transgender for everyone, they want open borders. The worst thing that happened...
Radicals on the...
There you go. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a good night. We'll see you on the next one. Trump could end all this. He doesn't want to. He wants to stoke it.
But I can tell you this about if this douchebag happens to see this particular...
You know why? Because nobody's talking about the Epstein files, including Charlie Kirk.
On this planet, by name, and tell them exactly who they are, and tell them the rest of the world who they are. You don't have the fork and balls. You don't have the balls.
Okay, Scott. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Listen off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in the best, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen nothing yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to...
Trump is the only person that could tell them right now on the right to tone it down, and he will not.
Well, listen, bitch, I came equipped with a quick wit and a 6 cents for the stupid shit. Where my true believer? Y'all need Jesus. Praise the Lord and to the extreme. All these false fucking prophets who profit off of gossip. Worshipping drums, cocking, begging for a throat deposit. Swinging fucking meat hammers like four in a thong. He's strapped to the shaft, eating his chest like he's King Kong. Starving for attention, I'ma make your gut burst. I'll be your huckleberry, I can quench that thirst. Baby, listen. Members of people, alien sex. What's next? Trump in a dress, fucking Flynn on his desk. A retard in a vest, climbing up 5G towers. Cause you told him if he did, he'd get fucking superpowers. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. Here we go, I think I started some shit. Piss him off, it's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets, you know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet. I used to find clues too when I was high on shrooms. I found myself a tunnel that led to Jason Q's bedroom. Open his closet, I found some of his meat rockets. I strapped him to my shoes and then I blew through the...
Yeah, he sat there, what was it, 118 minutes or something? 183 minutes. Dereliction of duty.
Put on a light coat of baby oil and saluted the troops. He tapped me on the shoulder and said, "This is gonna be it." Whoa, wait. Stop. What?
You remember that?
Files. Wait,
Was it 3-6 Mafia talking out the side of your neck?
dude, come on. Seriously. This is my mom's an alcoholic. Oh, give me a... Oh, my God. Damn it. Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen...
Oh, I'm sorry. It was Cameo.
Here we go. I think I started some shit. Piss them off. It's about to get lit. Get the place in them bets. You know that stage is set. You better buckle up, cause you ain't seen none yet.
I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night.
Down goes Nino. Please say it isn't so. Got him.